This is the Level Up Podcast. I'm Taylor Petrinovich.
And I'm Kelly Gilster of 618 Studios.
And we are on a mission to help wedding filmmakers and photographers level up their businesses so you can make more and work less.
We want to help you confidently take your business from mainstream to luxury, and it all starts right here. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for another conversation. Although I love when they're not just another conversation, we're actually starting a brand new series. This is going to be called our Debrief Series, and we're doing it this fall. If you've been a longtime podcast listener, you'll know that we've done a various series. We've done our Rising Star series. We've done our All-Star series. We've done, what was like
Sip
the Get
and
to Know
Tell?
Us? The Sip and Tell. That was
Yeah.
a great one. People got to know us like more on a personal level. If you're interested in any of those, just swipe on back through the archives of the podcast and you can find those. But we're going to be doing our debrief series. Taylor, why did we decide to do this one?
Okay, so I just thought it would be really fun. I love hearing how other people approach their weddings and events and the things that might go wrong, how they're kind of like on the fly making decisions, how they're approaching things. I personally just love it. I think it's so insightful to like hear the inner workings of these things because, as we all know, Instagram is 100% a highlight reel, and the most beautiful imagery has stories to tell behind the scenes. And so that's kind of what we're bringing to you guys today. Kelly and I have a really full fall season with lots of stories to tell. And so this first debrief episode is actually going to be uncovering my biggest wedding that I've done and my biggest wedding of 2025. And over the course of 3 days, a lot can happen, guys. So I'm excited. I don't know. I think it's really helpful for people to hear the realities.
Yeah. I mean, this was the biggest. So I'm going to actually I didn't tell you this, Taylor, but I'm actually going to interview you a little bit on this one because I have so many questions myself. I don't think I've actually heard the full debrief. I've heard bits and pieces, but this was your biggest wedding to date, both coverage wise, spend of the event total, and what they paid you. So it was like your biggest all around on all the things, which is always so exciting, but it's always a little bit nerve wracking. I know that you were a little bit nervous, approaching this one. It was just different than other ones.
For 2 weeks, I had the full butterflies in my tummy, full on roller coaster feeling, just so nervous. And then as we got closer to the event, the nerves actually subsided and the excitement and the anticipation actually built, which is great. I don't like feeling nervous in a scared way. So that was, thank you, body, for shifting how we were feeling about that as we got closer.
Totally. You're like, I cannot take these butterflies throughout the course of, the 3 days while I'm filming and all of that, because there's some high pressure situations that come along with these high-end weddings. We're not going to lie and sugarcoat it. It can get a little stressful at times, but I want to go back to the beginning. So I want to know where this took place, how they found you, how did you get this call for this huge 3-day wedding? Because so many students are sitting here being like, I'm waiting for my opportunity, but I'm not getting the call. How did you first get that call? How did they find you? And I think that was it. Start with where. Oh, and how far out did they book you? I just want to know out of curiosity.
No, yeah, totally. So this wedding took place in the Martis Camp community in Truckee, which is just outside of Lake Tahoe. It's on the north side of Tahoe. Martis Camp is a really unique location. I've shot there now 3 or 4 times over the last few years, and it's really cool. It's not necessarily a wedding venue. It's actually a gated community where the homes there range from $4 million to $20 million. It's very a prestigious location. And in order to get married there, it is my understanding that you have to own a residence there or you have to be sponsored by somebody who owns a residence there. So it's very exclusive, I guess, in who has access to get married there. There's a golf course, there's all the residences, and then there are spots that they have created for weddings to be hosted. So that's about that. I got the inquiry through a planner that I intentionally built a relationship with. I did a very strategic planning of like how to build this relationship with this planner, and I've worked with her now a couple of times, and I actually have a proposal out again for a wedding next year, which is great. So this is a relationship that is long lasting for me in my career, which is wonderful, and that's like what I want. And they booked me actually just about a year out, somewhere between like 11, 13 months out. I can't remember like the exact day they signed the contract, but this was actually one of the rare weddings where I did get on Zoom with them, with the bride and her mom, and we chit chatted and like talked about things, and they moved forward with me. So it was great. I'm trying to think, was that it? Yeah, I think that was it
Yeah,
at this
where it
point.
took
Yeah.
place, all that stuff.
Hmm.
Cool. So you had built a relationship with the planner, and that's amazing. You have your third opportunity to work with her next year.
Yes. And hopefully that works out. That'd be great,
That
obviously.
would be great. That would be great. Okay, so now because this one was different, have you ever done a 3-day before? Or was this your first 3-day?
I have another one next year, but this was my first one. I have done weddings where the rehearsal, dinner, and the welcome party are separate events, but on the same day. So it'll be
Yeah.
like 7 hours of coverage on a Friday and then like the 10 or 12 on a Saturday. But this was the first time it was spanned over 3 days. And actually, they also did a field day, which was like 2 hours of coverage Friday morning, which had like pickleball and like putt putt golf and like just like fun, like everyone's in their tennis skirts and like they're like playing games, I guess. It was actually like really fun. So technically it was 4 events.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
It's funny with those 3-day ones, and I remember you texting me too because you like start to run out of clothes. You're used to you like seriously, and because it was 4 events, you probably had to wear like a different outfit for that earlier Friday ancillary event, and then that evening for the welcome party. You just need way more clothes than you're expecting, and then you got to bring options because you never quite know. And then I like to bring options because I want to like consult with the photographers on like, what are you guys wearing? Okay, I have this that could be like in alignment with you guys too. Um,
Yeah.
but I remember like for the 4-day one that we did a couple years ago, I was like, I am all out of clothes.
Yeah. No, this one definitely like I had the design decks for all of the events, and this planner is fabulous, and she put together like attire guides for her team. And so
Cool.
she made it really easy for me. Like the rehearsal dinner, I wore like a leaning into like blue and creams, like floral dress. On Friday for the welcome party, they went with like deep jewel tones, like fall. So I wore like a deep green, and then I wore a black dress on Saturday. Yeah, the field day was the only tricky one. I ended up going to Aritzia and picking up this like really cute, it was probably a little shorter than what I normally would ever wear. It was like a few inches above the knee, but it was like a brown and black like plaid. It was like, giving like Blair Waldorf goes camping, like is how it felt. And then I wore black flats. So definitely like different fashion like each of the days, which was super fun and a little bit stressful for sure. But one thing that was like challenging about this one was building the team was like a big
Yes.
a big thing for me. Um, I am not in a position where my husband works with me. So for those husband and wife teams out there, this is where like I get very envious of you guys, because it feels a little easier. No one locally to me was available. And so I had to look outside my local market, which ended up being a great thing. I ended up flying Emma Nelson up from Orange County for all of the events, and she was my second, and she did an amazing job. I've looked through all the footage, and like it is great. Actually, at this point, now that you're listening to this, I've probably already delivered it to the client and everything, but in real time, I haven't quite done that yet. Um, and then I think what was making me nervous, and actually, Kelly, you had hit the nail on the head when we were like texting back and forth about this. I think what was making me nervous was like that feeling of like, oof, do I need to add a third or not? I don't really know. The guest count was like 215 people, so definitely like up there. And the way the events were like laid out, like physically, like logistically, I don't think two would have been great. So I did end up bringing a third in. Again, no one in my local area was available. So I put out a post to our like alumni group and in league, just like trying to find somebody. And Brian, with Films by Brian, who's actually in our spring mastermind group, sent me a DM, and he's like, I will fly out from Virginia to help you. So I flew Brian out as well, and he and Emma both flew in Wednesday. I had them Uber up to where I live in Roseville. I put them up in a hotel that evening, and then I swooped them up at 6:30 in the morning, and we all drove up. It was like 90 minutes up to Tahoe, and I dropped them at the Airbnb that I had rented with the photographer. Actually, I can get into that in a second. And then the photographer and I went and shot details at the bride's parents' home, where the paper um, designer did all the styling for us. So that was like
Oh,
really,
cool.
really helpful. Yeah. And then we just like hit the ground running. It was just, yeah, it was a lot.
That's amazing. I hope you guys are listening to this and it's inspiring you. Like we're talking about decks and like we're talking about like attire guides and just fun ancillary events. Like this is why Taylor and I love this level of the industry because it's so exciting and brand new every single time. And yes, it comes with, a certain amount of like building the team. And actually, I'll get into it a little bit later, but I hosted some office hours for our alumni and Brian was there and I put him on the spot a little bit and being like, I want to hear from you, Brian, your experience over the weekend. Like, how eye-opening was this for you being on a multi-seven-figure wedding? What was the huge clear difference? And he said, just watching you navigate the pre-planning process before the wedding and building out the team management was like really eye-opening to him on just the level of detail and how much you're preparing. So, it is a huge difference in being sure that there's lots of moving parts. And this one in particular, we'll get into it, but Taylor had a lot of moving parts with this one with different locations. And you had to shoot the reception space before the ceremony, which is always a little bit challenging. I've been on a couple of those as well. And so, yeah, so let's walk. You built out the team, they flew in, you dropped them off at the Airbnb. How did like the travel dynamics work with like you and the photographer like connecting about travel and stuff?
Yeah, it was great. The photographer was Laura Murray. Absolutely love her. She was so much fun, and I'm so glad that I got to like work alongside her in this wedding. She actually reached out to me via DMs and was like, "Hey, like, what's your plan for stay? Like, have you booked a hotel?" And at the time, I was like, "Dang, I literally just booked a hotel yesterday." But if you've ever been to Tahoe, you know that there's nothing cheap in Tahoe, and the like dinkiest Best Western is like $600 a night, which is crazy because we had to stay Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. So it was like going to be after taxes, like $1,800 to stay for 3 nights. And then if I was adding Brian on, then I would have had to like pay for like one more room. Anyway, so she's like, let's just do an Airbnb. And so she sent me over a bunch of options. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, just book whatever. We'll figure it out. And so I canceled my hotel. We all stayed together. She got a 4 bedroom so that me, Emma, her and her second shooter would have plenty of room. We would each have our own bedrooms, and actually brought my Nespresso up. So I was like a little like barista, like making all the coffee all weekend, which was fun. And then so we got that all settled. She added me to the Airbnb like reservation, so I was able to like see the communications, which was really great. And then she reached out again and she's like, hey, I think we should get a drone operator, do you want to split that cost with me? And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, you're right, we do need a dedicated drone operator for this one. And so it took me a long time to like find that. I reached out to probably 15 people, like probably like
Wow.
10 filmmakers, and then like 5 like drone like companies, and then one person was available, and so we locked that in. So that was great. So at this point, the team is now me, Emma as my second, Brian as the third, and then a drone operator. And then yeah, so you can see how it like really like adds up. It like gets stacked up like that. Um, and then thinking of like pre-production things, I had a call with the planner a week ahead of time. We chatted, the three of us, me, Laura, and the planner. We chatted for about 90 minutes, walking through the logistics and everything, looking at like diagrams and like making sure we understood like where things were happening at what time, la, 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 la. And then what I always do for my weddings, which I think this is like actually a great takeaway for people if you are working with like new second shooters, or someone different every time. And as a lead, you know how it can be where you're in the moment and you're shooting, and like your team member is like, what do you want me to do? And you're so focused on what you're doing that it's really hard to like think about what you actually need in that moment. Right. And so, what I like to do is in a notes app, I have
Yeah.
my own timeline. Right. So it's like 1 p.m. this happening, 1:45 this is happening, blah, 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 blah. And under each, I like do like tab. So like it's like indented a little bit. And I, in all caps, have Taylor, Emma and Brian, and then I have what they're doing on what
Mhm.
focal length and like what their tasks are. So it
Mhm.
might be like Brian is setting up tripods and plugging in audio, Taylor is on 18 to 35 gimbal, Emma's on her 85 on a monopod. So like for literally every section throughout the day, I had our three roles stacked, so they never had to ask me what to do. It was just they look and they're like, oh, she wants me on gimbal, she wants me on tight, she wants me on drone, she wants me gear setup, which makes it very nice and autonomous on the wedding day where I'm not like being asked questions. They know what to do themselves. So
Yeah.
I like doing that.
That's so smart. I just started recently doing that because Paul and I are so used to just shooting together that anytime we bring on a third, we feel so bad in our third say that we're like the worst bosses because we're just like, I don't know, whatever you want to do. And they're like, I don't feel like I'm being helpful. Tell me what to do. And we're like, honestly, we're so used to just like our own flow. Like we don't know unless it's a dedicated drone operator. Like that's kind of what I'm leaning more towards with a third nowadays. But yeah, I started doing that in the Notes app as well. So that's so helpful because on a wedding day, we're already being bombarded with just mental load on like our
Mhm.
own responsibilities and, just different team and client interactions. And so having someone there that's like asking you questions that didn't really like we could have prepared for that is so great. Yeah, it's it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a whole thing for sure. Yeah. Another funny thing, not funny, not funny, haha, funny situationally, was we at the last minute we're going to add on the drone operator also for Thursday because before the welcome party they were supposed to go out on a boat, like a really cool like vintagey like boat, but we saw the weather coming in. So we'd secured the second shoot or the drone
Oh
operator for that.
no.
And then literally the day before, we got the email that like we're going to plan B. The venue for the welcome, yeah, the rehearsal dinner. The rehearsal dinner venue was switched. No more boat. So it was like a lot of like last minute like logistical like changing around. And I am so glad because so okay, I'm gonna walk through like logistically like how it went. So right, Thursday
Yeah.
morning, I pick Emma and Brian up from their hotel. We drive 90 minutes up. I drop them at the Airbnb. Then we go to the parents' house. We shoot details for 3 hours. So flat lays, the dress, the shoes, like all the things we shoot for 3 hours. We come back, we offload cards, we back files up, we get dressed, and then we head back out for the rehearsal dinner. And again, it's like at the second location, Plan B location, and it is
Just out
torrential
of
downpouring
nowhere.
out of nowhere out of
Wild.
it's this is September, so like not typical like September-y weather here in California. Although I would take that over fire season any day.
Yeah.
And so we like pull up. I have a minivan, so we have like a ton of room for like gear. And it was like filled to the brim. It was actually so hard to get all of it in there between like three filmmakers. So we pull up, it is like I just curled my hair and it is just raining so hard and we're just running through the rain, loading everything inside and then actually sent Brian to like go park the car in like the proper like parking lot. But it was intense, like so much rain. We're just drenched. Like no one brought an
Wild.
umbrella. And we had to wait for it to clear up. Yeah,
You
it
just
was
wait,
crazy.
hurry up and wait. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was Thursday. Then you did
Mm-hmm.
rehearsal dinner. Was that like 3 hours of coverage of
It
that?
ended up being 4.5 hours of coverage.
Okay. Yeah. And what did
Yeah.
that look like? You shot some portraits, you shot the spaces. Was it like a little bit of a party after the fact? Like did they do like a little cocktail hour? Like some rehearsal dinners that I've done, they do like a little cocktail portion.
Yeah, so it was 22 guests on just like one long table. So like pretty small rehearsal dinner. There was definitely a bar. There was a bar. It was a plated dinner. So I got lots of like the servers like doing like placing the plates. And then there was like a little dessert bar. So it was like built out as far as like a rehearsal dinner goes. Lots to shoot, like lots of fun things. But I would say everyone was gone by like 9:30. Like they were out, which was great because like they had so many things to do throughout the weekend. But yeah, we definitely took them out for portraits. These clients like don't love having their photo taken. Like it wasn't like their most favorite thing. So everything was like very, very quick, like
Yeah.
literally like 3.5 minutes, like basically just walking, like walking shots, as much candid, as much in between shots as possible. So very minimal when it comes to that. And then there was like 4 or 5 toasts. So
Okay.
that was like a lot of it. Um, yeah, and then we were gone. I think we were out of there by like 9:15.
Okay. For the toast,
Mhm.
I'm always so curious. Did they have we're getting a little bit into like gear stuff, which some of you listeners will be like, oh my goodness, they never talk about this. Did they have a sound system or no? Or
Yeah,
they didn't?
the like audio guys, the audio techs, they were
Yeah,
there all, for every event running audio, which was really nice. Yeah,
that's
so
very nice.
mhm.
Yeah, I feel like we've had more and more. Like we had one in July where I got an email or a text from the planner being like, "Hey, they're not adding on like a sound person, but I think it was gonna be like 30 people." And they're like, "If I just bring like a little like sound something, will you be able to like capture stuff from it?" And I didn't want to like bombard her, so I just went like easy button push route, being like, "We'll make it work. Whatever is available, we have options." And she was like, "Great." Which is like what every planner wants to hear, that you'll just like figure it out and not bombard them with all the questions. Because we could have gone into like, well, I don't know, does it have an out in the back? Which it turned out it didn't. It was like very bare bones speaker. So we ended up just doing like the sleeve route with that
Yeah.
little recorder that you told me about, which I love. I love that little recorder. I've been
The little, like,
using it
Sony guy?
now. The little
Yeah.
Sony guy. I've been
Mhm.
using it now for like the father-daughter first looks that people are doing. I just like pop it into his little pocket and it's so easy. And then I can have the
Oh,
audio of that. Yeah.
smart. I never would have thought to put it in a pocket. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
smart.
You never see it. And
Yeah.
it does a good job. Like I feel like because well, it has the clip, but I don't really like to show the clip. So I literally just like plop it into the top. And then there has been times where it's kind of like flopped over, but the audio quality is like still totally fine. It's better than just like not having it, in my opinion. But
Yeah. No,
okay.
that's great. Mhm.
Back to it. So then Friday morning, you had like the field day, or what is Taylor and I like to call ancillary event coverage.
Yeah.
Um,
But
and
in the
was that all?
meantime, like we like dumped all the footage, like did all the backing up that night, all the
Yeah,
gear charging, so like in bed at around midnight kind of thing.
yeah,
And then I don't sleep when I'm traveling, so up by 5:30 probably. And then actually Laura and I edited all morning until
cool.
field day. So like I got my teaser from that day done and delivered over to the planner, and so did she, sneak peeks for that day. We were like I wanted to be like snappy about it, you know? That's
Hmm.
just I just do that. I don't know. I'm excited
Was
about
that
the
the
client.
expectation? Like, did the planner place that on you
No.
guys? No,
Mm-mm.
okay. You and Laura, United Front, decided what you guys kind of wanted to do.
I may have peer pressured Laura slightly into doing it
Okay,
also.
great.
A little bit. Yeah. Sorry, Laura.
Cool. That's funny.
And then
Okay.
field day was like at like noon. No, 12:30. Yeah, we got there like
Did
12:30.
Did you feel like you needed 3 people for all of those? Like, did you feel like you needed Emma and Brian and you for like rehearsal dinner and field day and welcome party stuff? Like,
I
how
do
did you
feel
do
like
team management on that without it feeling like a paparazzi situation?
it 100% for the rehearsal dinner probably felt like a paparazzi situation because there was
Mm,
five of us on the media team, so it probably did feel overwhelming. So there was a few times where I told my team like go inside for a little while, like these people need a break from like cameras.
yeah,
So we did do that quite a bit, and especially for clients who like are not super into that. Like that wasn't like something they were really like wanting, right? They didn't want to be like the spotlight kind of thing.
right.
So yeah, we were like conscientious of that, especially with the low guest count. Like it you stand out more, obviously. For field day, it was like almost everyone from the wedding, as far as I know. Like it was
Okay.
well over 100 people, maybe more. And it was spread out. Like pickleball is like a hike way over this way. And then like the putt putt that they set up was like way over this way. So it was very dispersed. So I do feel like I needed the team. And like we only had technically it was supposed to be an hour of coverage and then we were there for 2 hours. But like I don't think I could have covered it on my own. So I did mostly have Brian drone that, which the drone stuff like came out great. Like I just love that like top down, like on like the
Hmm.
pickleball court and like top down when people are like putting, like the shadow, like the long shadows on the grass, like it just looks really cool. So I needed him for sure. And then yeah, I think Emma, like just having two bodies on the ground was like really helpful, honestly. And then we also delivered for rehearsal dinner and everything on Friday. We were taking photos via drone too, and I gave those to Laura as well. So if
Nice.
you're a filmmaker, like that's just a really great gesture. If you are flying and the photographer is not flying, like snap a couple photos while you're up there and send them along. Like it goes so far, like
Goes a
for
long
them.
way, you guys. We're all united front here over at Level Up Co. And we're all about just collaborations. So
Yeah.
take that advice. That's a great little snippet of advice that we also advise a lot of our mastermind students too. So we just look for lots of ways to serve the entire team. Okay, so then you have a little bit of a break. You're back at the Airbnb.
Offloading cards, charging things up, backing up files, shoving food into our mouths because like it's going fast. Like it sounds like it's like a relaxed timeline, but it was not a relaxed timeline at all. Oh, actually, before, so like Wednesday, I'd actually texted Emma and Brian pictures of like from like my local like nice grocery store like options for food. Like here are all of like the pre-made salads and like wraps and sandwiches and breakfast options. And they sent me their orders and I picked up food for the three of us for like all of the days. So that we didn't have to like go,
Prep food.
yeah, or
It
like
would have been
spend
like no
time.
time. It's just like a
No.
grab and go situation.
Yeah. So it was like a croissant, egg sandwich kind of thing, or like a sausage sandwich or like whatever. And then like salads and wraps. And like, yeah. So we were set. We were like totally set food wise. So little hack too. And I brought like a cooler in my car. So anyway, like ate. And then, yeah, the welcome party was at the parents' home. And so we got there around 4 to do details. And it started raining again.
Oh, did
And it
it?
was
Out of
all,
nowhere? There was like
yeah,
no rain in the forecast?
there was, well, there must have been, I think there's like a 10% chance because the planner and the team brought tarps to cover all of like the rentals and the furniture. So they were able to cover everything, like nothing got wet. It was a lot of like crushed velvet and like that kind of stuff. And so
Mhm.
they were able to cover it all. It was no big deal. But we did have to wait to shoot, obviously. So it drastically cut down on the time we were able to cut details. So this
Yeah.
is where like being really quick, like being a fast shooter, obviously
Yeah.
like comes in handy. And there was a lot to shoot. There was like one, two, three, four, 6 different lounge sets like throughout
Mhm.
the property. Some like indoor, like beautiful, like floral arrangements. Mindy Rice did the florals, and it was just like gorgeous and so pretty. Um, and 3 different like bars. Yeah, so there's a lot to shoot. And then they were doing like a private performance by Matt Carney, who is like
Oh, yeah.
an artist. And so like there was like a stage and like his audio crew and his tech people, and like all of his stuff, like they were trying to like cover all the instruments like from getting wet too.
Oh, yeah. It's like just challenging for everybody. Like, I think sometimes as filmmakers or photographers, we're like, this is really like ruining our plans or like throwing off our schedule, but like it literally throws off everything. Like, I don't
Oh
know if
yeah.
catering had like any sort of like preset food out or like at that point or anything like that. But yeah,
Yeah. No, but they handled it so gracefully. Like they were fully prepared. Like they handled it like true professionals. And once we were able to shoot, then we shot and we got it done. Like I'm so happy with how it turned out. Like it turned out actually so great.
nice.
Um and yeah, I think like the full guest count came to the welcome party. So it was like a lot of people, a lot of people. It was actually so sweet. I just have to like this is so sweet. The bride's mom hand by hand baked like 800 over 800 cookies like to
How
be served to
cute.
the welcome party guests. Yeah. It's like
I
so
love
sweet.
that.
I know. I thought that was like the best touch. And then they had like a little coffee bar set up in their sunroom, and all of it was like custom like things like custom like event branding. So they had like throughout the weekend, Kelly, who is Paper by the Bay, go give her a follow. She's so talented. They had these like little bears, like illustrated bears for different events. So like for the field day, there was like a pickleball bear. For the welcome party, it was like an Italian bear for this one. Anyway, there was like different bears throughout the day, and then like wedding day was like dapper bear with like a hat and like a cane kind of thing. And so they
Hmm.
had like a welcome party bear on like all the like coffee cups, like disposable coffee cups at the bar. It was like so cute. And then they set up like a cookie bar with like all of her like homemade cookies like next to the coffee. So it was like a cookie coffee situation.
Cute.
Um, and they did have a lavender chai, which I may have had a couple of throughout throughout the
Okay,
weekend.
so let's talk about, I was just going to ask you, how do you navigate at these like welcome parties, like food? How do you tell the team what's appropriate, like the etiquette of this kind of thing?
Never eat anything that is client facing.
Yes.
You never take a plate and help yourself off of the buffet or a food station or a cookie display. Like that is never. But if there are things on back of house, maybe cookies that have broken or there was too many or whatever, then like if you've been told help yourself, then like obviously that's fair game. So Thursday, Martis Camp is an interesting venue because for vendor meals, when you're on property, you actually order from the restaurant. And so like you're handed a menu and just get to like pick whatever you want. So like we all had burgers on Thursday night and then we were back there for Friday. But for the welcome party at the home, it was like a catering staff. So we had like back of house, like the pasta and the chicken and like things like that. But it was their home, right? So like it's not meant for all these vendors to like be eating. So we were like in the garage and like just trying
Yeah.
to find like coolers to sit on and things like that. And then yeah, it was like very interesting and but it was like so great honestly because there was so much food and like all these cookies and like it was great. But yeah, you shouldn't nothing client facing, guys. Don't
Yeah.
eat the
Do you
client
feel like you
facing
have to
food.
remind your team of that beforehand?
Well, Emma and Brian have gone through Mastermind. Actually, like
Yes.
I love pulling like Mastermind students to like work with me. And so they know they've been trained by us. But there are like when I'm bringing people on who have not gone through our programs, I will say like I give them like you need to wear a suit if you're a guy and we're not on our phone and like I do give them kind of like a rundown of like what's appropriate and what's not appropriate at these like levels of events for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
But I also want to say too, just because we are filming luxury events does not always mean it means for a luxury experience on our side, which is just part of too why we wanted to bring this series to you guys to just debrief it to see that like I remember a friend of mine said like no matter where you are in the market, you're still a photographer or videographer schlepping your gear around and sweating on a wedding day. Like we're just
It's
the
true.
same people no matter no matter if you're shooting a $20,000 wedding or a $2 million wedding, it's still the same. And sitting on coolers in the garage, it's very normal. There's no egos at this level of the industry. We just are proud to be there, happy to serve. And I mean, every once in a while, you get like something where you get fed an amazing meal that the clients are having, but it's not an expectation.
Yeah, I actually called my grandma on my way home from the wedding and she's like, "What did you guys eat?" And I was like, "Oh, no, 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 no. I'm not eating what the clients are eating." She's like, "What?" And I was like, "Think of how expensive that would be. Like, really? Like,
For these
no."
big teams, I mean, the planner alone and the band, there's like what? Like you think like 12 people total on the band with like the sound tech and the whole, all the band members. And I mean, the vendor team is like enormous.
50
It would be
people
so
probably.
expensive. 50
Yeah.
people, you said?
Yeah, I think like probably 50 people on site. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, no, that would just be unreasonable. So, no, I was super happy. Like super fine. I'm happy with it. Actually though, this threw a wrench into my weekend a little bit. I had just gone to the mall to the Rothy's store that week and bought new shoes because the old like the heels that I was wearing like for 3 years, like they were just like eating into my heels, like the back of my heels. And I was like, I can't walk away from a wedding with like literally like like scabs on my heels again. Like I'm like over it. Like I just don't want it. And so everyone's always talked about Rothy's. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get on the Rothy's train. Like they're not the cutest shoes, but like I've heard they're really great, like for wedding people. So I bought a pair of flats and a pair of heels. And guys, these are not cheap shoes. Like I spent like $375 on these two pairs of shoes. And my feet have never been worse off.
Really, from the Rothies.
They are literally still like it has been. So as of recording, it's Thursday. And like I just shot this wedding like last weekend. My feet are still like in bad shape, like in multiple
No.
spots, like pinky toe, big toe, top of foot, heel, like all this stuff. So I actually did order sneakers for my wedding this weekend. Do as I say, not as I do. I just like literally can't. I just can't wear like cute shoes this weekend, or else I'm going to like pay for it big time. So I'm like putting band-aids on and like trying to like first aid my way like through this, and I ended up just like sucking it up. And like I literally
Yeah.
couldn't walk on Monday. Like I didn't like get up off the couch on
Yeah.
Monday.
Your
Cause like
feet were unwell.
not even just like from like the heels or like being on my feet, like literal like wounds, like
Yeah.
seeping wounds.
Gross.
It's so gross, but like
So
it's the
glamorous.
reality. It was horrible, but yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
And then yeah, the band or the Matt Carney played. He's so good. I actually didn't even know who that was before
Oh
this, but
yeah.
like he's very like Jack Johnson-esque
Yeah.
like
He had a
style.
chokehold on our wedding films like in like 2012. Yeah.
Okay. So good. Um if you do a wedding where there's a live performance by like an artist like this, you are not allowed to plug into their sound system. Like you cannot record
Oh,
like this live audio. I've done this
fun
now with like
fact.
three different artists, and none of them let you do that. So that's
Okay,
just kind
good
of like
to
a
know.
good thing to know as a filmmaker. Yeah, I think they don't want you to like sell like the like live recordings or something. Like
Hmm.
it's probably something like that, which I wouldn't. It would have been just like for like their deliverables,
Yeah.
but anyway, so it's just kind of good to know on the like filmmaker side of things. And then yeah, we wrapped, went home to the Airbnb, dumped footage, did all the same things, la 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 la. And then wedding day coverage started at 11:30. So we arrived at the home at 11 for the bride to get ready. This is where it does get interesting, like no first look, right? And so like portraits are not happening before the wedding, which means just like all these like crazy like cascading things for the timeline. So bride gets ready, no first look. We drive to venue. We shoot ceremony details. Drone operator arrives late a little bit. Um, it wasn't a big deal, but he was flying the Inspire 3, which is like a beast of a drone that requires like 10 minutes of setup. And so, but it ended up being fine, but it was like a little bit like worrisome, him like rolling in a
Hmm.
little late. Um, Shot ceremony details, got in the car, drove to reception space where they did this beautiful like glass atrium, shot reception details, had the drone, this giant Inspire 3 fly inside, and there's like chandeliers and stuff.
My gosh, it's like a hurricane inside with the. I mean, we had an Inspire. I think we had the Inspire 1 back in the day, and that thing is a beast. It's so loud and like it really puts off some wind.
So much wind. Yeah. As soon as it started like blowing like menus and like stuff like that
Oh
around,
no.
planner was like, okay, that was enough. But she was into it. She was like taking photos of it like inside the thing. Like she was happy and like it caught some like gorgeous things. Like very
Yeah, it's
excited.
pretty. Yeah, it
Like
does pretty stuff.
yeah, the like my teaser for that day opened with like one of those drone shots.
Okay.
I'll pop it in here and Cassie can like include it like while we're chatting somewhere off to the side or something. But yeah, and then we had to run back up and then like 10 minutes later shot the ceremony. So while I was down shooting details, Emma came with me because I was more on wides. I had her on tights, which is great. I used a lot of her footage. Like it was actually a really great complimentary. Like usually I'm on the 18 to 35 on my gimbal and I had her on a 50, I think.
Hmm.
So that worked out really beautiful, like to have like two perspectives. And then I
Yeah.
had Brian. Big shout out to Brian. What a help. I'm so glad I added you last minute. Thank you so much. He was setting up tripods, plugging into audio, getting all of the like the officiant and the groom mic'd up. Like he was doing all those like logistic things. And then we drove back up and like he had placed tripods. I just checked exposure and framing and like had all that and we shot. So I had Brian. This is actually something I've never done before. So like filmmakers, this might be interesting to you, maybe not for photographers. But I had Brian on a monopod. No, I had him handheld on a 70 to 200 off to like if you're looking down the aisle at the couple on the left side, and his only job was to get groom reaction. I've never had a
Hmm.
dedicated groom reaction camera. So that's all he was doing the whole time, and we got some great stuff. I was at the front of the aisle getting bride. I had Emma sweeping from the back, and then we had drone overhead for like processional. And we had the drone operator on an 85 or a 90. No, it was like a 92. This like drone has like weird like lenses. So it was on a
Hmm.
92 farther away so it wouldn't be as disruptive. And then he brought the drone back out for like the kiss and the recessional. And we told him he could be like a little lower because at that point it's like celebratory and like cheering and it wouldn't be like as like crazy. And then I like left Brian to like pack all the stuff up. Thank you, Brian. And I got
Wow.
on the shuttle. Me and Emma got on the shuttle. No, just I got on the shuttle. I can't remember Emma if she was there or not. But anyway, I got on the shuttle and we drove back down to like the reception space and we got their reactions to the space and then they went into like portrait time after that.
Okay. And you
So
did
it was just like
portraits?
psh, 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 psh. Yeah, we did like bridal party portraits, some family portraits, and then we just pulled the couple away for like a few minutes. Like later on, when the light was a little bit better. Minimal portrait time. This film is going to lean heavily into like the storytelling and B-roll of like the spaces and like candids. Really.
Well, it sounded like they had a lot of story just like woven in with like the bears and the attention to detail of like the homemade cookies and it being like at their family's home. Like it's a legacy kind of like vacation spot for the family. So like just to kind of paint a picture for you guys, like one of the biggest things that we've noticed as we've scaled up in the industry, and if you're not quite there yet and you feel like you have to just rely on the client's story, there are going to be times where, and I remember being like so nervous when, say, in the budget market, we got a client that was like not as wanting to be like front and center, like the shining star of the piece. And you're like, well, shoot, what am I going to have? Like, there's not a lot to like carry this film. But now at this level, like Taylor, you're not even worried about it. You're like, there's
No,
so much more there that I can like build story upon.
it's going to be an 8-minute film, and I shot 3.6 terabytes.
Yeah.
Like we have plenty to like cover. Yeah, it's going to feel fast paced, I think, because of like the sheer like volume of content and so much, like so many great toasts, actually, like gorgeous
Mm,
toasts. The couple did do like private vows like on a hike the morning of their wedding. So like we were not present for their private vows. So the ceremony was a little bit more like traditional in like what was said. But they had a few of their family members like speak during the ceremony, like say like a piece from like a poem or a book or like things like that. So like that'll be really sweet to like weave in a little bit too. But yeah, no, the story is the weekend. The story is the weekend,
hmm
not the couple, like how they met and things like that. So that is a big
Yes.
shift for sure.
Big shift. And just embrace it, guys. And it's so
Mhm.
exciting. It's so exciting. I love it. I love it so much. Well, that's really cool, Taylor. Any other like lasting tidbits from the weekend that you learned,
Yeah.
lessons learned, maybe?
Actually, this is like so weird. If you've been a long time listener of the podcast, I mean, this has been around since 2020, and I feel like my line that I say over and over, and like I've heard you say it too, is like, I'm not the most talented filmmaker ever. Like la 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 la. But I'm gonna be totally honest, like this was like a big confidence like boost for me. Like I actually feel so proud of like what I created, what my team helped me create. And like I actually want to take not vow, but like almost like make a concerted effort to not downplay like my abilities and my talent. I actually feel like that's like something that I do as like some sort of like
Like
coping
coping.
mechanism. Yeah, like because I do know there's like a lot of people, but like I feel like I've like now earned like my spot. Like I feel like
Mhm.
this I did a dang good job, guys, and I'm so proud of it. And like I want to feel more confident in my ability and like be more like less self-deprecating, I guess. So I feel like that's
Yeah.
gonna be like a takeaway for me moving forward is like I'm gonna own it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we're just waiting on like client approval for the rollout on social. We haven't quite posted that yet in real time. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's exciting. I'm sure by the time this goes live, like it'll have been put out there. But in real time, we're still kind of waiting a little bit, which is different. A lot of times I like to post like pretty soon after the event, like that Monday, or even Sunday, if I like know the client has seen it and is happy and like I get the green light from the planner, but we're sitting on it a little while longer.
Yeah.
Which I think is okay too, because no one shared on their Instagram stories over the weekend. So like no one's seen the space before. So it'll still feel fresh. So yeah, it
So
was a lot.
exciting.
It was a lot.
That's so exciting. Well, it's so good to have like a big one like that under your belt. Sounded like you really prepared the best way possible. Of course, there's going to be hurdles that you're going. It's a live event. It's a living, breathing
Mhm.
thing, right? And so
100%.
there's random, I don't know, weather or other kind of things that you just have no control over, but it sounded like you guys handled it like as best you could as full team players. And so it's cool to be like, I think on the other side of it now, looking back, being like, I did the best job that I could and I crushed it.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah, I feel like we did like our best, our absolute best. Um, and yeah, I'm excited. The next episode that we do here in this debrief series, Kelly went to Hawaii for a wedding. So
Yeah.
lots of like travel logistics for those of you interested in doing destination work,
Right.
um, things like
This one
that.
was so different than Taylor's. So it's going to be really great. And we're going to heavily lean on, like Taylor said, the travel side of things, what that looked like. We went to Maui. And I won't get to it, but it's not the big production that Taylor did. So there was lots of other like bits and pieces and other things to bring into the equation through a different debrief. I mean, this one was only 36 guests. So very different. Just one day of coverage for us, but lots to share with you guys next week.
Yeah, so we would love to hear from you on Instagram. If you tuned into this first debrief episode, give us your feedback. We would love to hear like how does it feel like with us lifting the veil? Are you into it, or like are you like, no, like let's let's move past this series? We would just love to hear your feedback. We want to make sure this podcast is a resource that you are enjoying and that you're getting things out of. So we're always open to hearing like what you're liking, what you're resonating with, and things that maybe you're like kind of hitting that like skip ahead 30 seconds button on over
Yeah.
and over. So we're at the Level Up Co. over on Instagram if you want to shoot us a DM. But we're excited about this little series. I think it's going to be about 6 episodes. So each wedding, as you know, can be so different and take on a life of its own. So stay tuned. Thank you for joining us in today's conversation. Please help us reach more filmmakers and photographers like you by taking a screenshot and sharing it to social media. And don't forget to tag us at The Level Up Co.
And join us again next week, same time, same place, as we continue to level up the industry together.